ルクレツィアの術を解いた時、俺が言ったことを覚えているか？
Unnamed Memory episode number 7. And why is the ED so good? Much like a couple of other animes this season, the ED is just exponentially just so good. It's honestly sometimes even better than the show itself, which is just kind of crazy to think about how many shows this season, like the ED is just chef's kiss. And watching the ED alone, you think you're like, we're in for a masterpiece. But more often than not, that's not the case, unfortunately. All right. With Unnamed Memory, the end of the episode, I think we're finally at a place with Oscar and with whatever her name is that just fled my brain hemisphere because they keep calling her Tinasha. I was like, Amelia? Ameti? Like, they keep calling her different names. But Tinasha and Oscar kind of meld hands, and he officially, I guess for the second or third time, but official puts out the energy that, Tinasha is his fiance. And at this point, her main objective, you have to imagine, is done, right? Like, her main objective of revenge and whatever else that she was trying to do, like, she's done. So the only future is really just Oscar now at this point. Now, to keep it a buck with you, to be 100, to be transparent, because that's what I am here on the channel, I don't like to lie, and I don't like falsities. I don't like being... there's two things I don't like. I don't like being overly negative. I know it's a surprise to a lot of people sometimes, but I genuinely don't like being really negative about a show. On the opposite side, there's certain shows that don't deserve some of the hype or reactions or praise that they get, because there's some sometimes they're just inherently not enjoyable. Now, that's not the case with Unnamed Memory, but I will tell you straight up, this storyline of Tinasha and Reynard and all of this, I don't and didn't care about. And for me, I thought this was, I thought Unnamed Memory, based on what it gave us for the first, 4 episodes or so, in my brain, this was just a show about a prince falling in love with the forbidden fruit, which is a witch, and the witch being inexperienced throughout her hundreds of years living, being inexperienced with love, and at one point getting close to tasting it, but couldn't. And this is the somebody, right? The prince, now king, and Oscar. This is the somebody who could take her there and get her there and get to that point and break through all the break through all the barriers that she put up, eventually breaking her down and having this really cool love story. Now, I'm not going to take away from the show and be like, that's not what it is, because that's still at its core, I believe, what it is. But when we start kind of going into the secondary arc of, twists and turns, and her needing to leave Oscar because she has this thing to do, and she's trying to play him the whole time, but a piece of her heart's still with them, so she has to leave her dragon behind and has to, lose her breath and cool anytime he shows up, and, all the stuff that we saw. It's like, you should have had him be a part of what you were wanting from the beginning. And that's a frustrating, critical point for me. The other part is the whole stuff with her and how she came to be a witch. Okay. I appreciate that. I appreciate, learning about, how she came into witchhood or witchdom or whatever else, I do appreciate that. I also appreciate learning that, hey, yeah, this is how her nation, started, and this is how her people, came to be. I enjoy seeing all of that, and I thought that was a cool thing. But then the story kind of flips, and it's just like, okay, Now this is a revenge story, and she needs to get back revenge, and she needs to get revenge for her people. And this has been hundreds of years in the making. And then you might ask, like, but Dom, that's not really a problem. And, it inherently isn't, but it takes away from the main love story that I kind of signed up for. But hey, that's okay. Sometimes you sign up for a 10-piece nuggie and they hook you up with some fries. You're not really going to complain about it unless the fries are stale. Now you had a free piss poor experience, right? But anyways, I digress, and it goes on to be like this revenge story. But then what they don't talk about is, well, how did this Reynard person, how is he alive? What was keeping him alive? At first, I thought he was like maybe be manipulated by a demon or, some type of entity, because it's really only the witches who can stay alive this long. Sure, there's other magicians and mages and other folks that have magic as well, but they seemingly don't live hundreds of years. Maybe they live a little more of a lifespan than your normal human, but they don't really live that much longer. So it's like, well, how the hell did this specific dude stay alive for hundreds of years in the same form and place that he was left? Especially because what he was trying to do originally, he failed. So it's not like maybe he absorbed some of her magic and maybe that's why he had to live long. They just don't explain any of it. And it's like, if you're going to go down this path of taking me away from the love story that I signed up for to go and put me into the shoes of this revenge story and all this other stuff that I really don't care about, at least flesh it out to make me care a little bit about it. But for me, I'm just like, oh, well, thank God that's done. Now we can get back to our Oscar and Tinasha love story. And we'll see what barrier comes up next that'll prevent the real love story. Because we know it's not just going to be roses and dandelions from here on. There's going to be something else that Tinasha can't love Oscar for. So anyways, that's where I'm at. I thought it was fine. You know what I mean? Like, I think for what it was decent. I'm not going to overly praise it. I'm not going to overly shit on it. It was fine. It was fine. I was glad to see Oscar get some revenge on the dude and he asked her about the belly stuff and he took his head or whatever. I was glad to see that. You know what I mean? Otherwise, like, yeah, anyways, I won't talk no much longer. I like the end of the episode, though. I thought the end of the episode was pretty good. So we'll see what happens next week. Hopefully I'm back to the love story. And hopefully I'm wrong about the barriers and the walls and the next thing that's going to prevent them. Hopefully we get to, progress into this love story. Especially because we only have 4 episodes left, right? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 5 episodes left. So we'll see what ends up happening in the next 5. So I'll see you then. All right, my friends. See you next week. Peace.